Okay, we're good. So, hello to all that's watching. Welcome to this YouTube channel that I haven't quite figured out how to manage yet. We're here today to discuss about middle school, in particular on how to survive middle school. I figure you clicked on this video based off of my almighty reference in the title to the book A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, but if you haven't or just don't get the reference, I'm basically going to give you guys a few quick tips and tricks on how to have the smoothest middle school journey possible. Keyword smoothest. Quick disclaimer, I go to an international school in Germany, so I can see how the middle school experience I received may vary from yours in the future, so take all my words with a grain of salt. You can also check out a few videos from other amazing YouTubers after you watch this one, some of which I have linked up above in the icon. Oh, and also it's the summer holidays for me and I'll be attending high school late August this year. Just to anyone who's curious, just anyone. So that's it. Without further ado, grab your popcorn, snacks, whatever, and let's get talking. And also, there's going to be multiple sections regarding the tips, so if you find one that interests you, feel free to skip over to that part of the video. Okay, so the first section of this video is going to be about friendship, and let's just get right into the tips. So I'm just going to throw it right into your faces, but friends are going to leave. You heard me. I know this might not be the case for everyone because some of us out there are just that lovable, but losing friends is something that will most likely happen to the majority of us. I'm not gonna say that it's okay, but it's definitely something that you shouldn't stress too much about, especially when there's so many other changes happening around your life. So friends in this period of time can leave you for multiple different reasons, and one of the biggest ones is that you guys will start to have different hobbies and get interested in completely different things. And a pretty common example that I can name off the top of my head is boys. There can be cases where you or your friend get caught up quite easily on appearances of crushes, but you or them on the other hand really don't care a single bit. It's also easy to lose friends whose friendships are based off of one or two activities. So what this means is that maybe all that was sustaining the friendship was the soccer club that you guys went to, or even the dance class that you guys both attended. And since middle school is a time that brings lots of changes, these single activity bonds might break almost instantly. Another reason why you and your friends might start losing contact is location, especially if you're going to different middle schools. So in this case, know that you'll find your group of people at your school and you shouldn't stress too much about sustaining the friendship because it basically will bring more trouble than good. And lastly, a fourth reason why your friendship might not be working is that one of you could have been toxic. So this means that a person might be taking advantage of you or another. If you see that it's happening to your friend group, don't feel ashamed at wanting to drop them and actually doing that. So our next tip is about being open and accepting of new friends. What this means is that you shouldn't try to befriend a single group of people who you think might be popular or make you popular or benefit you in any sort of way. What you should do is you should instead be more open-minded and flexible on who you want to hang out with, because you never know if in the end those popular kids are stabbing each other behind in the back. So always be open-minded and keep in mind that your happiness comes first. Make sure you hang out with the right people who make you feel the happiest, while also knowing that the friendship is going to last. So my third tip here is you won't be friends with everyone. This is pretty much cut and dry. You should be aware of this, definitely, if you're going into middle school. So not everyone gets along with everyone, especially in middle school. You should know that even if you're the most kind, supportive, and selfless person out there, there's still gonna be people who are negative. So this is why you have to learn from a young age that the world is not a perfect place. Where there's light, there's gonna be shadows. Same goes for where there's good people, there's gonna be bad people. However, after discussing this, one point you should definitely take away is not to get too caught up in other people's shadows. Having a positive mindset while people around you are trying to influence you in a negative way or just being pessimistic is really gonna help you develop a strong sense of self-being. Obviously, that means that you should seek out good people and limit your close-knit group to those that you can trust and who acknowledges you. I know this is not as easy as it sounds, and even I have work to do in this aspect, but knowing who the negative people in your lives are is already a huge step forward. Our next category is going to be relationships and crushes. I know some of you would just get giddy over this topic, but just calm down, okay? Calm down for a second, please. Less than 10% of middle school relationships last even those 3 years. Yes, you heard me right. So this means that the number of middle school relationships that last over to high school is even less than that. And for I have never been into a relationship or dated anyone in the span of my middle school years, I still think that it's best if you avoid them. But if you have a crush on someone and you think that you guys should give it a go, then feel free to. Normally these kind of relationships aren't taken seriously at all, and plus you have so many other things to explore in this time of your life. So just know that if you get into a relationship with someone in middle school, don't evolve your whole life around that person. So this leads us up onto our next point, which is don't get peer pressured into doing things that you're not comfortable with. I think that this is something that all tweens and teens should acknowledge, and something that's not really implemented is that you guys shouldn't feel forced to do something with someone. In this case, I'm talking about a first dance or first kiss, any of those stuff. Just know that the time will come when you're comfortable with stuff, and you shouldn't do it just because everyone else is doing it, since it will ruin your mental health as well. So stick to your morals, especially when someone is specifically pressuring you. Say no and listen to yourself. Our 7th tip and trick is that getting rejected from your crush or someone is no biggie. Just like how I mentioned before that not everyone is going to like you, this also refers to crushes. However, it's definitely okay to feel sad and cry if you gathered up all the courage to tell that specific person that you like them and they're just not really interested. But it should never lessen how you see yourself, no matter what. Because in middle school, everyone's dumb and they just say stupid things. Not everyone have their life put together. So our next category is going to be about bullies. First tip here is that you should never go through bullying in silence. At times, if you're getting bullied by just rude classmates or even discriminating teachers, you might feel ashamed to talk to someone out of school about this, and it's definitely okay to feel like that. But the actual problem comes if you follow through on that and actually go through the bullying alone. Just know that that's never okay for your well-being and mental health. You should always reach out to a trusted adult at first. This can be your parents, maybe your grandparents, aunties, uncles, even teachers or friends or neighbors. Anyone. These types of matters should be definitely settled by someone who is responsible so that the situation is handled properly. However, if you don't have a trusted adult in your life that you're comfortable with sharing these feelings with, it is absolutely okay for you to share them with a friend. So in all these situations, at first you might feel awkward about bringing the topic up, but just know that once you do, you'll realize how supportive and encouraging your community is. Like, just imagine that someone comes up to you to talk about their situation and their issues with bullying. Wouldn't you feel proud that they came up to you in the first place and want to help them more? Our 9th tip and trick is to never see yourself as the problem. I know bullies might tell you otherwise, but you are 100% not the problem. The bullies are the ones who are bothering you, so you should never feel responsible for how they're treating you. It might feel like they're doing this because you were meant to be picked on, but that's never the case. In some cases, the bullies might be possibly jealous of you or trying to bring you down. Or in others, the bullies might have problems at home and have no way of expressing their emotions other than picking on others or making them feel bad. Number 10 is to never bully. This might be the most straightforward and understandable tip out there, but just know that bullying can be only stopped if we all take action together. By being conscious of how you are treating others and simply not bullying is going to spare so many different issues for those around you. So our 4th category is going to be about grades, classes, and teachers. Our 11th tip is going to be that grades do matter, but not in the long run, so you shouldn't get too obsessed over them. Some might argue over this and say that middle school grades won't really matter in the long run, but just know that it's better to act as if they do. So first off, let's just get into why people might think that grades don't matter in middle school, because some of you out there might be completely clueless on the subject. So people are going to say this because grades in middle school won't really count on your college application and they won't really affect where you go to college. However, as you go through your middle school years, those grades that you get in middle school will depend on which classes you get placed in high school. At least that was the case for me. So if you had really good grades in math in middle school, all throughout middle school, the teacher's gonna know that and they're gonna be placing you into a higher math class in high school. And this can affect how the college sees you in the end, because those colleges can see if you took the harder classes or not. This is mostly only the case for 8th grade grades, so if you're starting off in 6th grade or you're in 7th grade, you still gotta take good care of your grades just to prepare for what's to come in the future. However, definitely do not get too obsessed over your grades like what I did in middle school. I still regret those sleepless nights and those hours spent cramming up stuff for tests Middle schools are like one of the last times in your life to let loose, so definitely do not spend all your free time worrying about that test that's coming up or that assignment that's due in 24 hours or so. Trust me, you'll do just fine if you focus in class, revise your notes, and study consistently, especially if your teacher acknowledges that. Number 12 is going to be focus and try your best in class. This might seem really obvious, but I know that there's not enough people in middle school who does this. You should definitely focus in class because those are the main sources of information you will receive. Keep in mind that there's going to be dozens of other times in the day or the week that you can hang out with the friends and mess around, but just know that class time is definitely not the time. By focusing in class and simply listening to your teachers, you'll be shocked at how much easier homework and assignments can get. Our next tip is to never be ashamed at asking questions. I still don't get why asking questions in class is a bad thing, especially when it is one of the teacher's main jobs to answer them. Plus, if you don't ask the questions needed regarding your work, it's going to be so much easier to fall behind. At the same time, you never know if someone else in the classroom are having the same questions as you, so asking them and receiving an answer can not only help you but others around you. Last but not least, asking questions in class consistently can also tell your teacher that you're focusing and paying attention to the work that's being presented. Number 14 is to maintain a good relationship with all your teachers. This might seem unnecessary to you at first, but just know that if you maintain a good relationship and a good persona around your teachers, words might spread really quickly. Keep in mind that teachers talk about students just as much as students talk about teachers, so giving them extremely good impressions of you can give them more good things to talk about you, especially when they're mentioning you to a new teacher you might be having in the future. This happened to me before when one of my old 6th grade teachers talked about me in a positive way to a 7th grade teacher that I had. Another reason why you should befriend your teachers is that it might help you raise your grade. If you show that you're a hardworking student who is really consistent in their studies by just saying hi to the teacher in the hallway or asking questions, then it is more likely that the teacher will let you off on that one terrible test grade.